Hey everyone, it's Marin Katusa here. I wanted to do this special on-site visit with the video footage for the KRO subscribers so everyone understands why I'm getting bullish in a contrarian play. When everyone hates something, that's when I most like it. So I'm sitting here with Francis Macdonald, the CEO of LI-FT, which I believe has a world-class lithium deposit. For example, when we were flying in, these green outcrops, that's the spodumene, we're sitting on Shorty right now. It's 800 meters by about 40 meters. You're looking at areas where we were walking on the side of the outcrop of 15 to 20%. We did the quick numbers. I believe that just sitting above ground here, you're looking at about 2 million tons. You know, that's about 2 years, over $500 million of in situ outcrop. This is the world's most valuable quarry operation. You don't need chemicals. You don't need to have any special infrastructure. You're 4 miles from the highway that connects it to Yellowknife, which is 30% of the GDP of the Northwest Territories. You know, for the Americans, that's kind of like the state that Yellowknife is in. The GDP, 30% is from mining, from the mines, the diamond mines. One of Canada's largest gold mines is just on the edge of town, which was out of production many years ago. This is mining country. So this right here, you have 13 of these veins. Francis, what are we looking at? Because I believe, and I've done my numbers, that we're north of 50 million tons from the open disclosure. Is my math as good as it used to be? Because my subscribers have been mad at me lately. So, you know, I've double sharpened my pencils here.
Yeah, that's a pretty good estimate, I think. You know, and all of our drilling data is disclosed publicly, so people can make their own geologic models and resource models, and lots of people have. So, you know, I think, you know, you're in the ballpark for sure.
So when I compare, everything's about, the resources are so out of favor right now, and everyone's competing for the same set of dollars. Tobias was, you know, the largest shareholder of this. He runs the largest lithium fund in the world. That's initially where I saw the big investments at multiple prices of the experts. This is where the opportunity for the investor, it's the contrarian play, it's the way of the alligator. Now, Francis, because this is for my KRO subscribers only, I can kind of make comparisons and not piss people off in the public. If you look at a comparable project, the company's called Patriot. They've got about, you know, from my numbers, 100 million tons here or there, plus or minus a bit, and similar grades to this. They had over $1 billion valuation. They had a major producer come in, invest 100 million for 5% of the company, valuing it at over 2 billion. So you look at this and say, okay, right now I'm very confident that what we already know from $50 million or $45 million of drilling, you're at north of 50 million tons. So you're half of that. But let's really compare. So they're twice the size, fair enough, it's about same grade, but they're 1,000 kilometers from the equivalent of Yellowknife. They're in the middle of a lake. The infrastructure required would be billions compared to this. This is essentially the first 5 years is outcrop. It's a quarry operation. The highway is 4 miles away from this spot we're sitting on top of very high grade spodumene above surface. It's outcropping. No chemicals are required. You're looking at simple metallurgy, lithium. You know, everyone talks about salars and, you know, what's going on. The environmental destruction that a salar does compared to something like this. And if you're a Glencore, or, hey, just like what Silicon Valley's unlocked the whole uranium sector, people forget. It's not going to be the retail investors. It's this new Silicon Valley movement, the data centers trying to lock up all aspects. They're going to need a stable, secure supply of low environmental impact. This is a green metal. This will be a green project that the people want in a politically stable jurisdiction. With the Northwest Territories, for my American audience, that's the equivalent of a state, you know, in like if you're in Utah or South Dakota. In the Northwest Territories, almost a third of the GDP is mining, and those mines are phasing out. The resources are depleted. You have thousands of high-waged, skilled, experienced who live here that you can transfer to this project, which is going to be, this is a district scale. This is what anyone who wants a long life asset. Would you completely agree with everything I said, or am I off on anything?
Yeah, I think I would agree with pretty much everything you said.
definitely. I think the key parts to this project is infrastructure. And like you said, we're sitting 4 miles from the highway. The city of Yellowknife is 40 miles from here along a paved highway. It's a mining center, and it's also a center for everything in the north. And from there, you can get down to rail very easily in a town called Hay River. So the big thing with these spodumene or lithium deposits, hard rock deposits, is that you need to move a lot of material. And so that infrastructure is really key.
Yep. Okay, so moving forward, we know the history of how difficult it was to get this. You were backed by the largest fund of its kind in the world. The price this stock is selling right now is multiples lower than what they financed it at. So it's the ultimate alligator contrarian play. What's next though? Why should anyone care rather than waiting 12 months or 18 months for the lithium price to come back, which I do believe the Chinese are doing a brilliant strategy of the cut to kill strategy, where they're flooding the market, not in material, because all of the trading houses are looking at material, but they're being price makers and then subsidizing their own infrastructure and production.
Yeah.
But they're making sure no one else develops it. The West needs to figure this out, and I think the Silicon Valley money will. What are the catalysts over the next 12 months for shareholders to make money on this?
Yeah, so in the next months, we're going to put out the initial resource estimate. And so in the last 12 months, we drilled 50,000 meters, put about $40 million in the ground. And so the resource estimate is really the culmination of a lot of that work. So that's going to be coming out in September. We're doing metallurgy or processing studies now to understand how much of the lithium we can recover out of the rock, and so that's a big technical de-risking
When will
study.
those results be out?
Those will be out in September as well.
Is there anything that you've seen, because we've walked this, generally spodumene is a simple process, is there anything that you see could be a project killer here?
No, definitely, and preliminary results are looking pretty good, so those are the next big things, and then from there it's really an economic study, put some economics around it. And so I think really each one of those is going to be a catalyst, because you're getting de-risking, you're seeing how big it is, and then you're going to see how much money is this actually going to make.
When I look at the value of this, I believe that the industry is going to change. And this is just the Katusa philosophy. I think projects like this, you're going to see go private. It's publicly listed today. The value's there. Being public, there's absolutely, you guys listed, anyone who knows, when I'm against listing companies in Canada, because from my subscriber base, over 80% are American. We've got thousands of accredited investors. Buying a Canadian company on a Canadian stock exchange is a pain in the ass in Canadian dollars. So all these lawyers and brokers, this whole industry has been set up this way, but we're trying to get Americans with American dollars to bring them to a Canadian exchange that they can't even buy. Their brokers won't even, they're not even licensed for this type of stock, in a different currency. It just makes no sense whatsoever. And yet an asset like this listed on the New York Stock Exchange would be multiples. And I think you're going to see some smart money. I hope everyone gets what I'm planning here, to take this to the point of going private and either selling it to a producer or refloat it where it needs to get the respect it deserves.
Yeah, I think it's something that we'll see. And one company I'd point to is a company called Kobold, and it's a private company. It's backed by Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. They raised $200 million at a $1 billion valuation as an exploration company. Yep. And I think tapping Silicon Valley, where people aren't afraid of high valuations, raising a lot of money to go out and actually
well, think about it. They essentially
work.
Have nothing, and they got an 800 million EV because who they are.
Yeah.
Well, I've raised over $200 million. Tobias has done. That's nothing for us to do.
Yeah. And
the market cap right now is like less than 140 million bucks, and you've spent over $50 million in the ground in exploration and drilling.
Yeah.
Like, this is what value investing in the resource sector is about. You got to be a contrarian, back the right people with the right projects in areas that they want you. That's so key here, with infrastructure in place. Because this is like having, at 50 million tons at these grades, that's like a 3 to 5 to 7 million ounce gold deposit at service, anywhere between 2.5 to 5 grams per ton, which wouldn't be here. It would be owned by a major.
Yep.
If you do the equivalent at current equivalent gold to lithium pricing.
Yeah, yeah, 50 million tons, you know, call it 1.1% Li2O is the equivalent of probably like a 6 million ounce gold deposit at, you know, like you said, 2.5 to 5 grams. It depends what spodumene price you want to use.
Yep. So this is why everyone, I'm here. Open disclosure, I'm going to be buying more. I just want everyone to know what I've been doing, and the way of the alligator is still here. And I've always said, it's an Ironman journey. It's not a sprint. Francis, anything to leave my subscribers with?
I think it's an exciting time to be in lithium because the demand keeps going up. The EV numbers out of China are great. Geopolitical tension just keeps getting stronger and stronger. And so we're going to need projects like this.
You know, I'll share one story. I don't know if you know this, but my best friend Amir, in 2017, 2018, the KRO financed UEC. And it was a 75-cent financing with a $1.25 warrant for 3 years. Today the stock's $6, $7. But at the time, everyone said, oh, uranium's down and out. Well, that's when you want to do it. Exactly. We did Uranium Royalty Corp out of my office. The idea was hatched at my house. I was the lead order. I backed the whole financing. You want to do things when the commodity, you want world-class assets when the commodity's down, because the cost of capital becomes expensive. In a bull market, you're paying for that bull market. Yep. And today, lithium is hated. Just from 2 years ago, anyone playing lithium 2 years ago is down 50, 75% on their investment. That's music to my ears, right? And the green movement's not going away, you know? So everyone, that whole sector's been a financial disaster for multiple reasons, but it's not going away.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is the narrative that is going to drive the commodity space for the next decades. Yep. And in the 2000s, it was the build out of Chinese infrastructure. And, you know, we saw multiple new billionaires minted in Australia, you know, who were supplying iron ore. And, you know, now it's not just about a country building out infrastructure, it's about the whole world changing the energy infrastructure.
And Gina Reinhardt, who's the wealthiest person in Australia, what's her focus right now?
Lithium, rare earths,
things that you need for the transition.
Yeah.
And look, I know everyone's upset because I backed, you know, some of these, the carbon credit companies and the environmental movements, but it's happening. And there's been, like anything in the early tech days, the key is with backing the right management teams. And if they're not, removing them, which I just did on another deal that the KRO subscribers know. But you're heavily invested. You and your wife own about 2.5% of the company. It's a focus factor. Tobias is at 19.9. I've purchased just under 2% of the company myself now. I'd like to surpass him, Tobias, but I plan on getting to be one of the largest shareholders of the company because the value is there, the price is right. It's very illiquid, so please everyone, don't rush because everyone's watching this at the same time. Alligator buying, just set your price, let the shares come to you because there's so many, you know, redemption funds and all that, so you don't need to chase the stock. Do it the way I do it, sit back and relax. If it takes you 7 months to build a position, who cares? It takes 7 months. Francis, thanks for doing this. I'm very impressed with what you guys have here. Thank you very much.